Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today by the gracious invitation of CZ in Uherski Brod, taking a look at some of the guns in their reference collection here at the factory. Today, we've pulled out the submachine gun version of the CZ-2000. Now, I have a previous video on the development of the Lada and the CZ-2000. If you're interested, I'll link to that at the end of this video. And I talk about the development of the project and its history there. Today, what we're specifically looking at is the small version, because the original plan with the CZ-2000 was to create a complete suite of shoulder rifles, or shoulder arms. The idea being a typical military needs submachine guns, infantry rifles, and light machine guns. And so CZ put together all three patterns, all using fundamentally the same core firearm. So the receivers, the fire control parts, the stocks, the magazines are all completely interchangeable between all three patterns of rifle. And this is done to create a good logistical situation where an army can adopt all three and have lots of parts interchangeability and less expensive manufacture and procurement. So in the previous video, I just had access to the infantry rifle version, and now we have the little shorty Krinkov version, or aka the submachine gun pattern. Just like the AKU 74S, this is really, really compact when it's folded. Of course, all of the CZ-2000s had this folding stock, and there is a latch right here. So that is in the locked position, and normally it just snaps in. This one is tight because it has a larger than normal front handguard, which has to compress this rubber butt plate a bit for that to actually lock in place. So to open it, you just pop that latch up. You can see it's just a little wire staple there. And then there is a nice solid stock latch there with this locking lug, so the stock can snap into place. To open it, you just push the lug down and rotate it open. We have essentially no markings on this gun. All of the CZ-2000s were pretty much pre-production type guns. So we have a serial number 8411. It's kind of a weird serial number. Normally these have a 2-digit year of production. This is a new pattern I haven't seen before, but on such a small sample size that I can't really tell you what it does mean. The selector switch, of course, is located back here over the top of the pistol grip. This is kind of like the Polish Tental in that it is, for magazines, we have a standard translucent polymer mag, 5.56, holds 30 rounds. Really pretty fundamentally normal. This is essentially a, for the magazine, we have a translucent polymer magazine. This was going to be the standard for the CZ-2000 series. Holds 30 rounds, 5.56 caliber. It is a nose-in, rock-back, very typical AK pattern magazine. One of the visual differences here between the CZ-2000 and the typical AK series is that there is no dust cover on the right side, and there is no dust cover safety. Instead, on this guy, we have only a selector lever on the left side. Some of the CZ-2000 guns have ambidextrous controls. This one is left side only. And it actually has the CZ logo in here, and that is a sort of a stylized UB in the shape of a pistol, and that stands for Uherski Brod, which is the name of the town where the factory is located. And we have semi-auto, and then safe here, a 3-round burst. Without memory, so if you fire 2 rounds of the burst and release the trigger, it resets the 3-round counter, and full auto. The handguard here is a bit larger than normal, and it has a little bit of a lip to give you a hand stop, because if you slip off forward, that barrel is going to be really hot, and then your hand's getting awfully close to the muzzle. So again, a Krinkov style of handguard there. The muzzle device itself is just a very simple cone. What is a bit interesting about it is, if I take this off, the flash hider itself is actually threaded, and the inside of the gas block here is threaded. So backwards of what you would normally get. And you can see the muzzle recessed just slightly down there. The CZ-2000 has its rear sight mounted on the dust cover, but it's actually pretty well secured. We also have two different rear apertures. So there is a really big ghost ring aperture there. We can flip that to a much smaller precision aperture. And the sight leaf is calibrated out to 800 meters, which is really a bit optimistic for something with this short of a sight radius. But that is just a standard CZ-2000 style of sight. Disassembly is just this one captive pin up here. Pull that all the way out, and we then slide the dust cover backwards. So the way that this is retained is with a ledge here that slides into two grooves on the rear trunnion. So that holds the rear of the dust cover securely in place, and the front is pinned, and that allows the rear sight to be repeatable even after you disassemble the gun. Not a whole lot else here that isn't standard AK. Got a typical recoil spring. The bolt and carrier, the bolt is basically identical to a standard AK. The carrier is mechanically the same, but it has a few different machining cuts. And of course it has a short little gas piston because of the short overall length of the gun. The bolt, of course, just comes out like a regular AK bolt. And then the upper handguard and gas tube are held in place by the same pin that holds the top cover in. So pull it the rest of the way out. This comes off, and there's your barrel, all 7.3 inches. That's 185 millimeters of it. So there you go, one Czech Krinkov, CZ-2000 PDW or CZ-2000 SMG. And now we're gonna go take it out to the range and see how it actually handles. The original transparent polymer magazines. Hopefully we don't have any cracking problems with them. They're a bit old now. We'll start with semi-auto. It does have a 3-round burst capability as well as full. So. That's not bad at all. Frankly, it shoots way more nicely than my little 7.62x39 pseudo crank. 5.56 is just not that bad out of a short barrel. Let's try a 3-round burst. Okay, so burst, it's great in semi-auto. It climbs like a lot, at least for me. Let me try a couple more and see if I can keep it a little more under control. It'd be really nice to get all 3 on this steel, or at least 2. Or like 1, maybe. All right, so I'm not a big fan of 3-round burst in general. I think, like, just practice, get the trigger control, and use regular, unlimited full auto. I will say the burst mechanism in this doesn't do anything to make the trigger worse. The trigger feels just like the semi-auto trigger. Let's see if I can do 3 rounds at a time in full. All right, so I can get the first round on target, and I can easily do 2-round bursts with the full auto selector, but that second round is climbing off target, and my fingers are really cold. Oh, that was a bad flinch. All right, that was embarrassing. This is a very, very nice, very controllable, well, soft shooting. It's gonna climb. Recoil is no big deal at all. Shoots nicely. I mean, it is essentially a 5.56 AK, made by CZ, so you would expect it to be quite nice, but I like it. All right, well, a big thanks to CZ for getting the opportunity not just to film one of these, but to actually bring it out to the range, do some shooting with it, and get it on camera for you guys. If you like this sort of thing, make sure to check out CZ's social media. I've got links to all of their different outlets in the description below. And of course, as you guys have become accustomed to and demand, we'll go ahead and dump the whole magazine through this, which should have the nice side effect of warming up the handguard to warm up my very cold fingers. All right. You ready? Really a remarkably nice, controllable gun for such a tiny little 5.56 Czech Krinkov. Thanks for watching.